Are you ready to change and grow?
Welcome to Big Money Sales Moves, the podcast for powerhouse coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs who are ready to scale with confidence and consistent cash flow. I'm your host, Carissa Atkins, speaker, author, and creator of the $1 Million Sales Matrix. Here is where we break through the industry lies that keep women overworked and underpaid. Say goodbye to bro tactics and burnout, and hello to alpha queen strategies. Sales, premium client attraction, and CEO level leadership that makes scaling simpler, faster, and more profitable. If you're ready to step into your $1 million era and make your next big money move, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. What up, you guys? Welcome. Oh my gosh. Welcome to Big Money Sales Moves, the show where strategy meets sovereignty and women learn to sell, scale, and lead like $1 million CEOs. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Carissa Atkins, founder of the Alpha Queen Collector, creator of the $1 Million Sales Matrix, and the woman behind the 10 success codes that unlock total success. So women join the Alpha Queen Collective for one reason and one reason only, and it's to build magnetic brands, to grow their businesses with more sales and feel like $1 million while creating massive impact and income in their companies. You guys, here's the truth, right? Your business only grows as fast as you do, and every single week I will show you how to do both. Build the business and build the mindset for success. So before we dive in, I've got a question for you. Did you know that the average entrepreneur makes about 35,000 decisions every single day? I mean, think about it. From the moment you wake up to the moment you close your eyes at night, your brain is constantly wiring and firing. What should I post? Should I launch this week? Who should I DM? When do I hire? How can I lead my team? The decisions go on and on and on. It's decision after decision and after decision. And Tony Robbins once said, it's in your moments of decisions that your destiny is shaped. Not in the algorithms, not in the hustle, but in your decisions. Because here's the truth, you guys. Most entrepreneurs, they're not making powerful, aligned decisions. They're making fear-based ones, rooted in doubt, rooted in people-pleasing and survival mode. And that's exactly why their bank accounts never match the potential. Because you guys, the gap isn't in the talent. It's in the decisions that you're making. When your decisions aren't aligned, they quietly drain your time. They drain your energy. And most importantly, they drain your income. You stay busy, but you also stay very broke, right? And visibility is not profitable if you don't know what to do with it. Now, I know the story because I have lived it. I have made my fair share of really crappy decisions. And a few of those decisions that I made changed everything for where I'm at today. Like the decision to keep my baby at 15 years old when everyone told me not to. Or the decision to leave an abusive relationship when nothing but courage and a diaper bag in my hand. Or the decision in 2011 to take control over my health and lose close to 100 pounds, even when no one believed that I could. Or the decision to open up my own tuxedo shop after losing my mom. And then later to sell it and to step into the corporate leadership world. I mean, each decision, you guys, has changed me, has shaped me as a mother, as a woman, as a wife, and eventually as a CEO. But there was one decision that changed everything. I want to take you back to 2019. I had just stepped on to the biggest stage ever. I mean, there were 700 coaches staring up at me under the freaking blinding lights. My heart was pounding. But the moment my heels hit the stage, that fear disappeared. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what I was born to do. I mean, if I could show you a picture of me in this rock star moment that I hit, like right there, I got this beautiful download that said, Carissa, you were born to shine. You were born to teach. You were born to inspire. You are here to change the next 10 generations of women's lives. I remember I got off that stage and I was like, oh my gosh, right? And this level of clarity just kind of hit my body. In fact, I was so crystal clear on what I needed to do. I remember pulling out my phone, texting my husband from backstage, and I said, babe, when I get home, we need to talk because I realize that I need to leave corporate and I'm going all in on this thing called coaching and speaking. Well, it took me a couple of months to leave, but 4 months later, I finally had the courage to walk into my boss's office. And you guys, he could just tell, right? I walked into that office and I was like, I've got to go. And he said, Carissa, how long do I have you? And I said, listen, I absolutely love this company. I'm not going to leave you in a lurch. So I promise I will help you find the most beautiful marketing and sales director ever. I'm not going to leave you hanging like that, but then I've got to go. And it took me about 6 months to actually leave. I mean, there were so many days that he would come in and he'd say, Carissa, if you say I'll double your salary. Carissa, can I give you some more benefits? Carissa, please stay. Like I realized right then and there that I was the glue to that company. And also that, like those moments, every time he came into my office, I also realized that I was such a magnetic force that I couldn't stay, right? I was like, oh my gosh, like I am meant to do bigger things. And eventually, guys, I ended up walking away from a six-figure salary. I walked away from the company car, the credit cards, the perks, everything, everything. I made that courageous decision, even though I had no idea what was coming. Well, 6 months later, life hit me pretty hard. I ended up filing for divorce after a 15-year marriage. Couple of months after filing for divorce, I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's. I mean, the stress of having to do all of these things to build a company from scratch, to be a great mom, to be, a woman who can stand on her own 2 feet, like all of these things, this pressure brought so much stress into my life that stress kicked off this autoimmune disease. And then, of course, COVID hit, right? And within months, I went from living in a luxury house, a beautiful 5,000 square foot house on a lake, into my 3-bedroom tiny apartment, which eventually took me into my best friend's basement. So it was about 12 months into this apartment, and the client roster was slowly dwindling. We were in the middle of COVID, so everyone was freaking out about their income and their money. And of course, I had just spent 5 grand on my very first co-collaborative book project. Like, I was like, this is what I need in order to take my business to the next level. Like, guys, the money was gone. The clients were slowly dwindling. And I remember talking to my best friend, and I was again stressed and I was overwhelmed with what I was going to do and how I was going to make rent the next month and how I was going to feed the kids and like all of the things, right? But right there, she said, Carissa, I believe in you, and I want to invite you to come and live in our house with me and my family. Now, I could have let my ego get the best of me, and I could have been like, oh, no, girl, I got this. But I knew that I was like meant for these big things. I knew I couldn't give up on my dreams. So I sold a lot of things and I put a lot of things in storage, and I ended up moving back in to her basement. My son was on the couch, and my daughter and I shared a 10 by 10 room with each other. Guys, the year prior, I had made $10,000, not per month, per year. I was doing all of the things in business. I mean, I was hustling nonstop. I was posting every single day. I was pitching my offers. I was selling, and still nothing great was happening. And then I remember one afternoon, right? One beautiful, glorious afternoon. I had just spent about 45 minutes on a sales call. A sales call that I honestly, you guys, thought was totally going to go in my favor. She was like nodding her head. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I really think, your coaching program is exactly what I need. I'm going to totally get results." And then I shared the investment with her, and boom, she gave me those words that so many coaches hear. She said, "Carissa, I really do think your program can help me, and I really, really need this, but I just can't afford it right now." Ouch, right? I mean, I know some of you are listening to this right now and thinking, "Oh my gosh, yes, this just happened to me today or yesterday or last week," right? Ugh, this was me. This was my everyday life. I mean, I had no problem getting sales calls, but I was hopping on sales calls with all the wrong people. So right there when she gave me that phrase that just, it echoed in my ears, right? Like, I just can't afford it. I remember kind of feeling like I hit this rock bottom. I remember closing my laptop as the tears started rolling down my face. The voice in my head started whispering, "Just quit, just go back to corporate. I mean, you're not cut out for this. Who do you think you are? You're never going to make it." You know what I'm talking about, guys. That itty bitty shitty committee that lives inside of our head that can get the best version of us. That voice was so loud. I had been fighting this voice for so many weeks. But then another voice, a stronger, wiser voice began to talk. She said, "Carissa, you've built businesses before. You've helped make other people millions of dollars. You know how to sell. You know how to build a business. You just need the right system. You need the right coach. And you need to get out of this funk," right? So right then and there, I made a powerful decision. I decided, guys, that I was going to turn down the volume of that itty bitty shitty committee that lived inside of me. And that I was going to turn up the volume on the cheerleader, the girl who I knew always had my back, right? I wanted to listen to that stronger voice. And I knew what I needed to do. So I remember getting up off the bed. I was wiping my tears. I was giving myself this massive pep talk. I went and grabbed a bunch of notebook paper because, guys, like when I get ideas, right? When I start brainstorming, whether it's business or life related, I tend to like map everything out on pieces of paper. Like I just let everything start flowing out. And that is exactly what I did that day. I remember grabbing some blank pieces of paper. I grabbed my entire jar of markers and pens and rulers and like all of the things, right? And right there in that moment, I realized, Carissa, you know what you need to do. You know everything about sales. You know everything about organic social media marketing, grassroots marketing. You know how to build a profitable business. You've just been listening to all the wrong people, right? You see, as a brand new certified coach, I was following somebody else's sales system. I was following somebody else's sales call plan. I was following somebody else's roadmap to success, and it wasn't working for me. I forgot that I had so much knowledge within me. So right then and there, you guys, I started mapping out everything. I mapped out my vision. I mapped out my why. I mapped out who I wanted to serve, what my purpose was. I mapped out my sales system. I'm talking everything. I didn't even realize that what I had mapped out for me was my $1 million success plan, which eventually became the $1 million sales matrix. That exact framework that I followed myself, I now teach my clients how to do. I help these women, right, turn their message into money without burning out. And from that moment forward, I stopped chasing and I started converting. I stopped reacting and I started leading. I stepped into my power and I found my voice. And I cannot wait to tell you all about what that $1 million sales matrix. We are going to take a quick break, you guys. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you about those $1 million sales matrix pillars that I followed that actually allowed me to step into that power, to get very crystal clear on my message, my marketing plan, my sales plan, everything. So, you guys, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back.
Hey everybody, oh my goodness, we have got talk radio for all of it.
Really, thank you for blazing the trail for women in talk radio and just being such an inspiration to me and so many other people. What you're doing is so awesome. And, you know, without people like you there to like really step out of the box and go for it, I don't know if someone like me would have ever ended up here, but I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, I just want to thank you for everything you're doing. You're one of my major inspirations.
Tune in to the Goddess Emergence Show the first and third Wednesday of each month at 2 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio with Dr. Bree Gibbs, a spiritual leader, healer, and trance medium who, alongside of Goddess Bell, the creator, and other masters, will share information never before released on the planet. Embark on a spiritual pathway to address your physical health, emotional frequency, mental clarity, and spiritual well-being, all in perfect harmony. Visit drbreegibbs.com.
You ever feel it? That whisper just beneath the surface? A deeper part of you ready to rise? At Aligned Energy, we don't just inspire change, we embody transformation. This is where high-performing women come home to themselves, where the masks fall away and the real you steps forward, powerful, radiant, and fully alive. This is Manon.
Hey, you guys, what's up? We are back and I am getting ready to share all about the $1 million sales matrix. Guys, it's the exact framework that I used and that I now teach my clients how to use like nobody's business. So before we dive into the $1 million sales matrix, I want to take you right back to that moment though, when I was sitting there mapping out this framework, right? So once I mapped out that framework, I started making more clear decisions, right? Everything became like so very freaking crystal clear. I knew exactly what to do. And from that moment forward, guys, I stopped chasing clients and I started converting. I stopped reacting and started leading with personal power. And I made another powerful decision. About 3 months later, I remember that I was like, okay, Carissa, you have got to find a coach or a mentor to help you. And even though I was freaking broke and living in someone else's basement, I knew I couldn't do it alone, right? I knew I needed someone to bounce ideas off of. I knew I needed someone to give me fresh perspectives, to see where my blind spots were. I mean, that's the best part about hiring a coach or a strategist, right? Is they can see the holes that you don't quite see. Okay. So even though I was broke and I felt very, very guilty, I remember signing up to work with my very first business coach. $16,000. Yes, I know that seemed crazy. The even crazier part, guys, was it was 16 grand for 8 weeks. But I just knew. I knew that her support, that her team would be able to help me and take out this framework, this vision, and help me turn it into money making profitable businesses, right? Well, that ended up being a really great investment for me, guys. Now, I'm no financial advisor, but 16,000 in order to make, to spend on 16K in order to make six figures, that to me was a no-brainer, and I do it every single day. So 7 months later, after I hired that coach, I became profitable. 3 years later, I was a six-figure CEO. And 2 years ago, you guys, I crossed the multi-six figures, seven-figure mark as a coach and as a speaker. And I'm just freaking getting warmed up. I truly believe that I am just peaking, and I'm so freaking excited because I'm obsessed with helping other coaches do the same thing. I think I read a stat the other day that it was 2 out of 10 coaches will ever hit six figures in their company. And I'm like, oh my God, that is incredibly sad. And I realized, I was like, Carissa, if this is what you're meant to do, your main focus is going to be flipping that number, right? My goal is to help 8 out of 10 coaches earn their first six figures. And I like six figures because it's a magical number. I mean, there's something magical about when a coach finally earns $10,000 months, she just unlocks a whole new level of confidence, right? And I always say, if you can sell a $10,000, if you can have a $10,000 month, then you can sure as hell have a $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, and even $100,000. And guys, this is what I need you to hear. Okay. Here's what I really need you to hear. Success isn't luck. It's leadership. And leadership starts with the decisions that you make every single day. And that's what this show's all about, right? So if you don't realize who I am yet, I'm a no bullshit kind of coach. I will always shoot it to you straight. The Big Money Sales Moves show, it is for women entrepreneurs, coaches, and CEOs who are ready to master the mindset, master the strategy, and of course, step into their sovereignty and really ultimately step into their multi-six, seven-figure business. Okay, so let's dive into that framework, because this is truly the framework that I get to teach my clients every single day. And this particular framework is beautiful because it pairs the right steps in the right order. Okay, so let's talk about why most coaches get stuck growing their businesses. It's not because you don't know enough. It's not because you're not talented enough. It's definitely not because you don't care enough. I mean, gosh, you're a heart-led solopreneur. I bet you would do anything for your clients, right? Right. But the truth is, most coaches hit six figures and then stall out because they don't have the proper system that makes sales consistent, simple, and scalable. They're literally showing up every stinking day, winging it. They're guessing. Right? Or maybe they got to 100K out of pure hustle and grit, but now they're seeking an easier business, right? A more aligned business, something that doesn't leave them burnt out at the end of the day, right? They're so sick and tired of piecing together strategies from free webinars and Instagram posts and AI and wondering why their business feels like a freaking roller coaster. And guys, I need you to listen to me on this. Talent is not your problem. Your problem is that you don't have a framework that works. And that's exactly why I created the $1 Million Sales Framework. Now, this is a 5-pillar system that took me from broke in a basement to scaling past $500,000. And today, right, I'm going to just touch on the system, right? Because guys, this system alone, it's game changing. All right. So here's what I'm seeing every single day in the industry. And maybe you're feeling it too. Coaches are hitting $10,000 to $15,000 months, but then sliding backward the next month, right? One month feels amazing. The next feels like, what the hell happened? Or I see this happening a lot, right? Amazing gifted coaches posting their hearts out on social media, but no one's buying, and hundreds of likes and zero clients. Or I just saw this earlier today, right? Women who have built, who have been at it for years, but are still chasing cold leads in the DMs, praying to God that one of them says yes, right? And behind the scenes, I know you're feeling a lot of shame, a lot of doubt, and a lot of quiet quitting energy where coaches are wondering if maybe corporate would just be easier. I mean, I've been there, right? So many times that I have to battle that voice. So I want to touch a little bit about the 5 pillars and then join me next week as I dive deep into them. All right. So pillar number 1 is what we call quantum energetics. This is your mindset, your energy, and your identity. And let me be blunt. You cannot scale to 7 figures with a 5-figure broke ass scarcity mindset. You just can't. So we're going to definitely dive more into this next week. Pillar number 2 is magnetic messaging. This is where you stop blending in and you start standing out. I freaking love magnetic messaging and branding. Pillar number 3 is called magnetic lead generation. And this is where I teach clients how to literally build a pipeline full of aligned, decision-ready buyers. Okay, so we're definitely going to touch on lead generation because so many of you guys think that leads are like so hard to find when in reality, leads are everywhere. Then, of course, what's a sales coach without a sales system? So pillar number 4 is the cash catalyst. This is where sales systems come in. All right. So we're going to dive definitely deep over this entire podcast around sales. And then, of course, there's the pillar number 5. This is called GSD protocols. GSD stands for get shit done. All right. So we're going to talk about the systems, the organization, the structure, and the rhythm that actually allows you to do that. All right. So next week, we're going to dive deep into the 5 pillars. We're going to talk about some of the common problems that I'm seeing within those 5 pillars. And more importantly, how you can start solving for those solutions. Okay. So I just want to leave you with this, right? Like, aligned decisions are time-bending superpower. When you can learn to make decisions that are aligned with your value and your vision, you can start to collapse time. All right. So here's your power move for this week. Write this down. Identify one area in your business where you've been making decisions from fear instead of power. Maybe it's your pricing, your team, or an investment that you keep putting off. Go ahead. Write it down and then ask yourself, what would the unapologetic CEO version of me do instead? All right. Speaking of next week, we are going to dive straight into big money sales moves, all 5 pillars. I cannot wait. If you enjoyed today's episode, take a quick second to subscribe, leave me a review, and share it with your fellow entrepreneurs or any other woman who needs to hear this message today. Because together, we rise higher, we sell smarter, and we lead stronger. And remember, your next level isn't waiting, it's a decision away. Now go make some big money sales moves. That's a wrap for today's episode of Big Money Sales Moves. Say goodbye to hustle and grind and burnout, and hello to ethical sales and Alpha Queen strategies. If you're ready to master high-ticket sales, scale your business, or grow your empire, head on over to www.alphaqueencollective.com and make your next big money move today.